Voting is a civic duty. Let's register on the electoral list. This is a message from Equinoxe Television.
Hi, sir, to all of you viewers of Equinoxe Television. It's time for the news in the English language. Thank you so much for being with us tonight. Our major stories this evening. Tomorrow, August 17, 2024, is going to make it exactly 5 years since Samuel Wazizi, a journalist and media personality, was declared dead after he got missing in Boya. The family is still to know the whereabouts of the corpse of Samuel Wazizi. As we speak, we take you back 5 years when he was arrested, plus what he was accused of in this news edition. Also, it is a Black Friday to the sports family in Cameroon and across the world. The mortal remains of Issa Hayatou, former CAF president, have been laid to rest today in Garoua in the presence of FIFA and CAF presidents respectively. Meantime, the mortal remains of former Indomitable Lions striker Landry Ngemo were removed from the mortuary in Chang today. Landry Ngemo will be laid to rest tomorrow, still in Chang in the west region of the country. Those are our major stories. Details in just a moment. Welcome back, viewers. Thank you so much for the confidence. Tomorrow, August 17, 2024, we told you is going to make it exactly 5 years since Samuel Wazizi, who was a journalist and media personality, was declared dead after he got missing in Boya in the southwest region of Cameroon, and the family is still to know the whereabouts of the corpse of Samuel Wazizi. For me, Armstrong Sander now takes us 5 years after he was arrested and also tells us more about what Samuel Wazizi was accused of.
5 years after his announced death, the painful exit of journalist Samuel Wazizi is still to find final rest. The controversial circumstances surrounding his demise and the whereabouts of his lifeless body remains a mystery to public opinion in Cameroon. National and international opinion finds solace with patches of facts contained in the communication and press release of the Ministry of Defense in Cameroon dated 5th of June 2020. Published by the heads of the Communication Department, Navy Captain Cyril Serge Atonfak Ngemo, the Ministry of Defense says Samuel Aboué Adjeka, aka Samuel Wazizi, died of severe sepsis at the 1st Military Region Hospital on Saturday, August 17, 2019. A public information that came after Equinoxe Television's exclusive announcement of the death of Samuel Wazizi, whose whereabouts had been unknown to the public and his family members for over a year. He had been picked up by security officials from Muyuka subdivision in the Fako division of the southwest region, taken to Yaoundé and held incommunicado. The Ministry of Defense in a June 2020 press release confirmed that Wazizi was arrested in Muyuka subdivision and further precised that Wazizi showed signs of ill health as he arrived in Yaoundé. A contrasting revelation to that of the governor of the southwest region, who had earlier posited that the journalist was in good health upon his arrest and transfer. Beyond the above controversies, the presidential investigations confirmed by the French ambassador after an audience with President Paul Biya remains a mystery to Cameroonians.
May his soul continue to rest in peace, hopefully. An alleged gang of notorious bandits has been dismantled by officials of the West Regional Judicial Police Unit. They are accused of carrying out several attacks and killings in the west region of the country. The most recent was the brutal assassination of a businessman in Banjul. Lucy Liengu is here, reports.
55-year-old Andre Takam, a businessman in Banjul in the West region, on the 4th of May 2024, was attacked at his residence by an alleged gang of bandits known for their brutality and cruelty. Andre Takam was shot and robbed of the sum of 2 million francs CFA.
Quand j'arrive maintenant au couloir, j'entends comment quelque chose fait boum, que je vois que c'était le mari qu'on a.
The assassination of the 55-year-old is a sequence of killings carried out by the suspected gang.
They are authors of several aggressions in Bakassa, Bacham, Banswa, Banok, Banjul, and Buda. They target houses and immediately launch their attacks using bikes and other dangerous items. The suspects do not hesitate to kill anyone who tries to resist.
3 months after a series of complaints by victims, security forces of the West Regional Judicial Police Unit were able to track down the suspects who have been a nightmare to the population. Several persons who have been victims recount their experiences.
The fairest amongst them is very wicked. I even gave him money, but he said it wasn't enough. We saw a group of persons coming with military attires. They asked us to lie on the floor and remove everything we had on us, including money.
At the time of their arrest, the suspected thieves had in possession locally made guns, knives, machete and other dangerous items.
Nous avons 2 armes de fabrication artisanale, 8 munitions de calibre 12, 2 machettes, un marteau arrache-clou.
The head of the West Regional Judicial Police Unit calls on the population to reinforce collaboration so that security forces will be able to lay hands on the men of the underworld.
Let's now take you to Yagua to talk about this explosion which occurred in a boat on the Yagua Bridge in the north region of the country. It caused a fire incident which left enormous material damage, but fortunately enough, no human life was lost, as Malagari tells us in the report which comes up next.
200 bags of rice, 225 gallons of 25 liters of contraband fuel, 5 motorbikes and other valuable items have all been destroyed in a fire incident caused by the explosion of the boat on the Yagua Bridge in the far north region of the country. This happened while the boat was crossing the Yagua Bridge to Bongo in the neighboring Chad. The occupants of the boat says the engine got too hot, leading to an explosion. The struggle to put out the flames in vain. Fortunately, no loss of human life was registered, but enormous material damage recorded.
We stay in the northern regions of Cameroon. Teachers living in the far north region of the country have consistently been attacked by members of the Boko Haram terrorist group, jeopardizing school activities. According to a latest publication of Le Sahel newspaper, at least 21 teachers got kidnapped or were kidnapped in the Mayore division of the far north region within the space of 1 year. 4 out of the 21 teachers kidnapped were killed, while others are in captivity. Immaculate Fogwe reports on the situation of teachers in Mayore division of the far north region.
Out of the 21 secondary and primary school teachers that were kidnapped between the month of May 2023 and August 2024 in the Mayore division, north region of Cameroon, 4 of them got killed, 5 still in captivity, and 12 of them released upon paying huge sums of money as ransom.
La persistance d'enlèvement des enseignants.
We have recorded several attacks in the northern part of Cameroon. Apart from the fact that the number of teachers found in these regions are limited, the few available ones are living in fear after seeing some of their colleagues killed with others kidnapped. It's really hard for teachers over here.
Among the latest victims is Salburu, director of the Komani 2 Government Primary School, who got murdered in the month of July. His killing comes after his family paid a sum of 4 million francs CFA to ensure his release. The revelation was made by L'Heure du Sahel newspaper. Many of the teachers living in these red zones expressed deep concerns about their security, while decrying the limited resources put in place to assure that they are safe.
Security forces have been deployed in some of the red zones, but we think security needs to be reinforced, especially in schools, so teachers can operate without any fear.
Speaking during an interview, the delegate for basic education for Tubero says he has received several complaints from teachers denouncing the rising insecurity in their neighborhoods. He went ahead to say many of the teachers have been demanding that they be transferred. In Cameroon, thousands of children are deprived of the fundamental right to education due to security crisis orchestrated by the Boko Haram terrorist sect that has led to the death of civil persons.
Meanwhile, the International Crisis Group, the ICG, has raised some concerns about socio-political upheavals in Cameroon. These issues range from poor living conditions to recent inter-ethnic conflict in the country. A reporter for me, Armstrong Sander, read through the most recent report and now tells us more.
Cameroon's current economic situation is marked by a surge in food and fuel prices, exacerbating precariousness for a large part of the population. The International Crisis Group warns of the risks of widespread demonstrations resulting from popular discontent with the increasing cost of living. This economic precariousness, coupled with an uncertain political environment, could also intensify calls for a political transition, a demand which is becoming more and more pressing as the country approaches the electoral deadlines. The International Crisis Group expresses serious concerns that the succession crisis at the top of the state could degenerate into a bitter struggle for political and economic power. Such a scenario could shift the conflict from peripheral regions such as the English-speaking areas plagued by separatist unrest to the center of the country, amplifying already existing ethnic tensions. The organization also warns that this political instability could give rise to resurgence of violence, particularly in regions like Bakassi, where separatist movements such as Biafra militias could intensify their activities. Such a deterioration of the situation could lead to serious loss of life, hamper humanitarian efforts, and compromise access to fundamental rights such as education in a country already facing multiple challenges. As Cameroon finds itself at a crucial turning point in its history, the International Crisis Group calls for increased vigilance and the implementation of preventive measures to avoid an escalation of violence. The rights group says it is imperative that Cameroonian authorities as well as political actors take these warnings seriously and adopt a proactive approach to diffuse tensions. The International Crisis Group further outlines the importance of an inclusive dialogue which takes into account all competent Cameroonian society to guarantee a peaceful and stable transition.
Meantime, civil society actors and community mobilizers say the root causes of the inter-ethnic conflicts and confrontations witnessed in Cameroon recently are varied but not without a solution or solutions. While attempting to analyze the major causes in a heterogeneous Cameroonian society, a community mobilizer and civil society actor says community dialogue remains a perfect way out of this crisis.
Of an estimated 250 distinct ethnic groups, the recent rise in ethnic confrontations, intercommunity violence and ethnocentrism in Cameroon is a major preoccupation to civil society actors and community stakeholders. The complexity of the origin and causes are as serious as the provision of solutions.
The causes are many, but I'm going to name a few. We have greed, which is one of the causes. The lack of morals, incivility, people don't more socialize. People now make contacts mostly on Facebook or on social media without having a friend in the quarter or where they live. Fertile land also, and the growth of the population. Growth of the population, why? Because some villages that or some communities that were so little yesterday, but today they have a larger population, and with this they want to extend farming lands, extend habitation lands, and extend exploitation lands, and that causes what?
Inspired by the recently concluded peace process between Tumbo and Jirong villages in the Donga Mountain Division of the Northwest region after 3 decades of a bloody land dispute, Mr. Fanka Samuel says goodwill and dialogue remains a perfect way out.
We make sure that we train the traditional rulers in conflict, the resolutions management, because they are the direct custodians of our tradition. Government want to do everything, and finally they finish by not doing it well. They should associate with ID Solutions for Community Communication, associate with other NGOs, civil societies, so that the job becomes lighter, and we shall do all this job for them.
Another example worth copying, according to him, is the entente arrived between the indigenous people of Sub Village and the Fulani settlers community after a tense atmosphere of suspicion and hate that followed the killing of some villagers and destruction of properties in Sub Village recently.
Cannot go there with magic, but we'll just go there and talk to the people, talk with them, show that we love them, comfort them, share their problems with them. Then with all this way of doing, we take their confidence and start working hand in hand, pleading on the God, give us this opportunity and allow us to go to the suburbs and work with the people.
He thinks the crisis opposing the Bamums and the Tikas in Magba subdivision of the Nous division in the West region can be resolved in a like manner.
And now it is a dark or sad Friday for the football family in Cameroon and across the world, as today is a funeral program or ceremony of 2, let me say, footballers or football officials. I'm talking about Issa Hayatou, who is a former CAF president, and Landry Ngemo, who is a former Indomitable Lions of Cameroon. Now let's begin with the funeral ceremony of Issa Hayatou, the former president of the Confederation of African Football. Issa Hayatou has been described as a societal being by the president of FIFA, Giovanni Vincenzo Infantino. He was speaking during the funeral of the late sportsman in Garoua. Today, Issa Hayatou died last August 8, 2024 in Paris, France. Let's now have more about the funeral in Garoua today with Manjikan Gabriel.
The town of Garoua was the point of convergence as sports officials met to pay their last respect to the one-time president of the Confederation of African Football, CAF, and interim president of World Football Governing Body, FIFA, Issa Hayatou. According to the president of FIFA, Giovanni Vincenzo Infantino, Issa Hayatou was someone open to everyone and gave everyone a listening ear. The president of the Confederation of African Football, on his part, described Issa Hayatou as,
"We benefit today and derive recognition because of his enormous sacrifices and contributions."
The President of the Republic was officially represented at the funeral of Issa Hayatou by the Minister of Sports and Physical Education, Chief Professor Narcisse Mwelekombi. Highlights of the day also included a prayer session where the Imam called on Allah to welcome his son Issa Hayatou into his kingdom. Issa Hayatou was later lowered to Mother Earth in their family cemetery located at the Lainde neighborhood in Garoua.
Meantime, the mortal remains of former Indomitable Lions striker Landry Ngemo were also removed from the mortuary in Chang in the west region of the country. That was earlier today, and the corpse was paraded with across the streets of Chang in the west region of the country. As you can get from the images there, it was accompanied by several football fans and also some football officials across the country. Landry Ngemo died some time ago. That was in a fatal road accident on his way to the center region after visiting his family in Chang. That was some weeks or a month back. May their souls rest in peace. Still in sports, 2 Cameroonian clubs will be on the continental assignment this weekend, with Victoria United hosting Samatex FC of Ghana in Douala, while Fufu Club of Baham will be in Liberia to challenge Penis VO FC in the first leg matches of the African Champions League and Confederation Cup. Meanwhile, the 5 athletes to represent Cameroon at the Paralympics in France are already in France, precisely in Poitiers, to continue their preparations. Details of those stories and more of our sports package for this weekend compiled by Simanji Kangebro.
The 2 Cameroonian clubs in the CAF Interclubs competition get into action this weekend. In the CAF Champions League, reigning Cameroonian champions Victoria United will challenge Ghana's current champions Samatex FC. Both clubs are novice in the tournament, as is their first time in the competition. Victoria United has been preparing for the encounter with friendly matches and will have a new coach, David Ngambe, to lead them. Fufu Club of Baham is the other club representing Cameroon this weekend at the continental level. They will face Pennsville FC of Liberia in the preliminary rounds of the CAF Confederations Cup. Fufu Club recently sacked their coach, Christopher Ousmanu, to go for Charlemagne Bongo. The West Regional Club was relegated to the second tier this football season. Still in football, Cameroon's under-20 women's football team has left the country after several training sessions. Back at home, the girls of Coach Hassan Bala will be in their first participation at the final round of the FIFA Under-20 Women's Cup. That will be in Colombia. Cameroon is lodged in Group A alongside Australia, Mexico, and host nation Colombia. Cameroon will get into the competition against Mexico on August 31, 2024 in their first game. After a failed adventure in the Olympic Games, Cameroon is going for gold as the Paralympics kicks off in France. The delegation of Team Cameroon that is already at Poitiers, France, has intensified its preparation. Cameroon will be represented at the Games by 5 athletes and will be involved in 3 disciplines: para-taekwondo, para-athletics and para-powerlifting. It will be the first time for Cameroon to participate in the para-taekwondo discipline.
Let's now take some news out of our national frontiers. Clashes between local rebels and forces of law and order in the Democratic Republic of Congo, the DRC, caused the death of 16 villagers on Thursday. And over to South Africa, South African Attorney General withdrew charges against 95 Libyan nationals who were arrested last month in South Africa. Details of the stories and more this time around with Cedric Chakuti.
Clashes between local rebels and pro-government military in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo killed 16 villagers on Thursday, the latest violation of a ceasefire announced to help millions of displaced people in the region. In Rutshuru territory, North Kivu province, during fighting between the M23 rebel group, which is believed to be backed by neighboring Rwanda, and local Wazalendo fighters, who often fight alongside Congolese security forces, according to Isaac Kibira, an administrative official in Rutshuru. The fighting has raised new concerns about the sustainability of a ceasefire that came into effect on August 4th to end fighting in the region and provide aid to millions of people in need. Several other ceasefires announced in the past between the government and rebels have also been violated. Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo has long been overrun by more than 100 armed groups seeking a share of the region's gold and other resources while committing massacres. And in South Africa, South African prosecutor withdrew charges against 95 Libyan nationals who were arrested last month at what police said was an illegal military training camp in Mpumalanga province. Police alleged that the men who entered the country on study visas were receiving military training at the camp, where firearms and ammunition were recovered during a widely publicized police raid. During their initial appearances in court, the accused said they were receiving security training at the camp. Elsewhere, by September 1st, Ivorians are required to have a visa to return to Morocco. This is in a decision taken jointly by the authorities of both countries. The measures will last 2 years. The aim is to combat irregular migration. The Sharifian Kingdom is one of the transit points for thousands of African migrants trying to reach the Mediterranean coast. Of the 14,800 migrants who arrived in Lampedusa, presenting themselves as citizens of Côte d'Ivoire, only a few dozen of them were confirmed as such. This is the result of a joint profiling operation conducted by the Ivorian and Moroccan authorities.
So that was it for this edition of the news. Thank you, viewers, for always being there. Don't go away. Equinoxe comes up in about 35 minutes live from Yaoundé with Gizo Go, and the news in the French language comes up at 8 p.m. with Julien Beth Bissay, and at 8 p.m. we'll be having a complete package on the funeral ceremony of Issa Ayatu in Garwa and that of Landry Ngemo in Chang. Thank you again for being with us and have a blessed weekend.